Am I live? Am I live? Yes, I am live. How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope everyone is having a great week. We made it to yet another Wednesday. How cool is that? Ooh, where am I? Oh, I'm behind Maria here. Okay, there you are. Okay, there I am. Okay, cool. So let me turn off this overhead light here. So I'm sitting here in metropolitan northern East New Jersey, craving bread. I haven't had bread since October, and that's all I want right now. But I'm not going to have bread because I did lose 20 pounds since October. So it did pay off. I don't want to go back. So let's see who we have here. Sam, how you doing? Great to see you, Sam. We have Colette. How are you, Colette? We have Patty, always a pleasure. And let's see who else. Mr. Roy, how are you? I did remember to email you this week. That's a good thing, right, sir? Let me get this light out of the way. And let's see what else is going on here. Blue, how are you? Great to see you, Blue. And we have... And I did mention Sam. How are you, Sam? Always a pleasure. Tone, how are you? Wendy, how's everything? So right now, that's a really nice group. I'm so glad to see everybody and make sure I didn't miss anybody here because all of you are so important. Mr. Paul, how are you, sir? Great to see you. So glad you are here. And so that is great. And Mr. John, Total Pain, is in the house. That is great to see. So, this is part two. Part two is always interesting, right? So, it's going to be a lot of fun. Could I go a little darker on this? What do you think? Do you like it better a little bit darker, or you like it the way it is lighter? So, you guys and girls be the judge. Oh, great to hear that, Paul. So that's wonderful news. Eric, how you doing? Great to see you, sir. How are you today? So glad you're here. So that is really cool. So I'm very happy about that. So I'm very excited to see everybody here. And Eric purchased one of the Xtreme Patriot arrows. I just wanted to let you know it's all done and all the tests have been done. This is all the tests of the Xtreme Patriot arrow before. So that should ship out within the day or so. Just getting all the other little gifts there with you. So I'm very excited to ship that out in record time. So that's really cool. So Wendy likes it darker. Okay, great. So we'll stick with the darker. Thank you so much. Okay, so one of the things I like doing is taking the detail mixture, especially in the beginning, and I'll show you a little thing that I like doing. I like adjusting, right? Adjusting is always good. So I take one of these little dropper bottles and my pleasure. No, I want to get that out to you. And I spent a lot of time on yours and Carlo, who is in Italy. So both of you are, it's perfect. So that's exciting. So I can't wait till you get to try it, Eric, definitely. And thank you for the opportunity to make you an airbrush. So one of the things I like to do is I like to fill my cup with the small cup 1/3, no more than 1/3, right? And then I'd like to go ahead and put in a little bit of water here. And you could use, it's always best to use purified water or what's that water? The stuff they give to babies. I forget the name of it. Distilled water is always good. But you're not going to have this in the airbrush for very long. So distilled would make sense if you were storing it. But since it is just for the time you have it in your airbrush, no problem. So now I have, yes, definitely Wendy distilled. And so now I'm just going to take piece of paper, and I'm just going to test it. And is it light enough? I may want it a little bit lighter. It's just, you have the ability to do so, right? And that's what I want you to do, is realize that you can dial it in, even though, you can definitely do a whole painting just doing the mixtures, But I like the fact that if I want to go just a little bit lighter in the beginning, I have that ability, right? You don't want to push it too much. The most you ever want to go is 50% water, 50% detail mixture. That's going to give you like a really very light color. But what it's also going to do is going to give you an immense amount of control for details, right? So that's something to really think about it. Hey, Nameless, good to see you. How are you today? I'm so glad you're here, my friend. So I'm going to go to your favorite product and mine, which is Pure Ref, and I'm going to pull up my picture. And let me make this bigger for you all. And I'm going to pull up my picture in Pure Ref, and that's Maria. There's Maria. Okay. Maria's great. All right, so let me get my glove, my Ink Flingers glove. Now, everyone's been getting their Ink Flingers glove. Like, most of you have your Ink Flingers glove. If you haven't gotten your Ink Flinger glove, just let me know. But I think everyone that I know of, if you were there that night and you didn't get your Ink Flingers glove, please let me know. And this way I can get that out to you, okay? Other people have been placing orders from after that, and I've been drawing that Ink Flingers glove there. Okay, this is definitely glasses territory. All right, so in the beginning, you just want to get acclimated, right? I haven't been doing airbrushing today, so this is the first, so I definitely have to get going here. So what I'm going to do is initially I am just going to just darken, and I really have a very light mixture here. But you can see the amount of detail. When you have this much, so you can go with Createx and you can go with all those other brands. You know what? They're never going to get the detail you can get with this airbrush and my detail mixture. I don't care who it is, what airbrush they have, they cannot come close to this. Mr. Brad, how are you, sir? Always a pleasure. Can never, ever, ever, unequivocally, without a doubt, without question, without anything, can they come too close. Maybe Drew Blair, but I don't think anyone can come close to the detail that you can get with my Xtreme Patriot arrow together with the detail mixture and having that diluted and just having it so, so dialed in, and that's to me is most exciting. So looking at this, you always want to be somebody who is being your own watchdog, right? You don't want to say, okay, I'm going to be I'm just going to go ahead and, I put the drawing in, it's fine. No, you definitely want to be a little bit hard on yourself, especially in the beginning. Nameless says, just trying to finish latest project. Oh, don't worry about the procrastination. You'll get it, and thank you. So, it's an honor that you stopped your work to hang out with us. That's for sure. Oh, it does shoot a very fine line. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. And with the detail mixture, beautiful. And, okay, Nameless hasn't got the glove. Okay, so, by the way, whatever happened to the wheel of paint? I want to get the wheel back, but I want to get everything that I owe people first. So I've been feeling a little bad, so that's why. So definitely, I want to definitely square up with everyone who won in the past. And so I definitely got John his glove, and I got John also received his inks. And I know I owe Honey I owe a shirt, but I gave her her inks and her glove. So I'm getting there. Wendy has her glove. Colette has her glove. So we're doing good. We're getting there, right? I might be a little slow sometimes, but I always make sure I take care of you. Getting better on the slow part. So, here's a little bit of information for you. Today I got my booster shot. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. I got my booster shot. And so that is a little bit nerve-wracking because remember last time I had my shot, everything was fine until around the 11 o'clock hour. I started feeling like, ooh, a little bit of woozy. And then once like 11:30 hit, I had the chills and I was stuck in bed, you know. About 7 o'clock, I felt a little warm. I had the shot at 12 noon. About 7 o'clock, I felt a little warm. But after that, I was okay, you know. And, oh, you're welcome there, Mr. John, definitely. So, Wendy, I'm feeling okay, thank God, so far. I took a Tylenol, and I'm keeping close eye on it. Right now, I'm going to, see, I did it in pencil first, and now I'm going to do that crease of the eye with the airbrush. And then once this dries, now remember that's the key. Once it dries, that's when I'm going to go ahead and erase the pencil line. Because right now, if the paper's wet and you erase, you're going to damage the paper. Now this paper is 184 pounds. Now, yes, the Michael Jackson glove. 184 pounds is huge. It's almost like a piece of cardboard. So it's not that this can't take a licking and you can't go ahead and paint on it and do a lot of layers and get it wet without warping. You can do that. But anything where it's wet and you try to erase, you're going to start hurting the integrity of the surface. So it's not that you're working on anything delicate. This is kick butt paper. It's like the best paper in the world because it has just enough tooth to absorb but just enough strength to erase. Hey, what's up there, Clutch? Good to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure. And so that is really cool to see you, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. And let's see. Oh, where does the glove go on the airbrush? That's funny. I think that's what you're saying. And watch the amount of detail. I'm going to zoom in just to show you guys what we can do with this. And as I'm zooming in, I definitely can focus in on that. Definitely want to focus in on getting this clear. See, I'm using a 24 millimeter 2.8 lens, so that means I have a very shallow depth of field. So that's why the focus is pretty hard to get, but the pluses of a 2.8 lens outweigh the minuses. So that's why I use the 2.8 lens. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you some of the 1 second rule, right? So you see how I can get in there and start doing the variation of the eyebrow there. See if I can even darken it a tad bit more. Okay, that's cool. And watch your negative space, right? The negative space of the white of the eye, right? And also work on your drawing. So you always have to draw. Drawing is everything. I'm going to say that a good painting is 85% drawing. John Auguste Dominique Ingres. He's a 19th century neoclassical painter from France, and he is just my hero when it comes to art. And so I have this great book that has a lot of his sayings in it and his philosophy, and I love it. So we're going to work on her eye, and we see how it comes out here and then sort of cuts in nicely like that. So we want to make sure we get that negative space. It's so important. It's hugely important, you know? And let's see, and then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to get this negative space right here. Now once I do this, I'm going to work on the other eye, because when it comes to eyes, symmetry is very important. Now of course one eye is always going to be a little bit bigger than another. There might be differences going on with perspective and stuff like that. However, you do want the eyes to look like they belong to the same person. So it could really go bad if one eye is doing something while the other eye is doing something else. So that's why we have to make sure that we get it right. And I have a variety of erasers, some that are more aggressive than others. And let's see. What is the book? Great book. It's hard to get. Let me go get it. I'll be right back. Now, it's hard to get. I mean, this is not in print. I don't think it's been in print for like 40 years. But oh, let me get out of Zoom. Okay, where is it? Where are you? Okay, it's Ingres by Walter Pock, and it's a very old book, but it has a lot of his, and it's not in print. So here's something that he says. Just to read a couple of things, I think you'll find it. It's story time here on Wednesday's live stream. So basically, it says here, the head and the neck never link together. They always form two non-continuous lines. So that's very interesting. He also goes on to say, in the head, the first thing for an artist to do is make the eyes speak. How timely is that right now? That's why I start with the eyes always. So I repeat, in a head, the first thing for an artist to do is to make the eyes speak. Interesting, right? Except that they should be indicated only by the mass. First one sets down the hollow of the eyes, then one goes on to the projection of the nose. Descending nostrils are fine means of expression. They indicate tranquility. Very interesting. So here's another thing. So he's talking about this wing of the nostril here. And he goes on to say, the wing of the nostril, very lightly traced, gives beauty. The nostril, well adjusted to the cheek, is also an element of beauty. So it's very interesting. So what he's saying is that we should be very subtle here. And a lot of times I'll do that by describing the wing of the nostril by the values of the cheek. And although it's understated, it has a lot of elegance. So a lot of this. And let's see one more. The arm always commands the forearm. It is the stronger part. It is only in the aged and decrepit that exceptions to this are found. I don't know. So he's saying the arm is always more powerful and stronger than the forearm. So, oh, here's a very interesting point. So I want you to look at this in nature. Never do the exterior contours bend inward, right? There's never concave. He says that. He says, on the contrary, they bulge. They curve outward like a wicker of a basket. So all the forms on the body bend outward. They don't bend concave. So I want you to look at that, and that will help you to make better drawings. So that's our Angra story time for today. So Angra, Walter Park, and there's several versions. You don't want the version that has just pictures, but you want the version that also has his thoughts. Study of the antique on color. This is one more thing. I look at that beautiful drawing by Angra. Was he not like the greatest draftsman that ever lived? Hey there, Mr. Mike S. How you doing? Good to see you. He says, Tim said the eyes have to look like they belong to the same person. So I guess Marty Feldman, Marty Feldman would definitely be the opposite of the norm. He was good in Young Frankenstein. So here's interesting on drawing. He says, color adds adornment to painting, but it is only the tiring woman or the court lady charged with dressing a queen. For she does not go beyond the rendering more amiable the venerable affections of art. So he's saying that, color is great, but without a good drawing, it means nothing in his way. He says it is unexampled that a great draftsman has not had the color quality exactly suited to the character of his drawings. So let me repeat that. It is unexampled that a great draftsman has not had the color quality exactly suited to the character of his drawing. In the eyes of many persons, Raphael did not use color. He did not use color like Rubens and Van Dyck. On the contrary, he would take good care of not to do the same thing. So what he's saying is that that Raphael, which was his hero, color supported the drawing, which was the main part of a painting. And so it says the essential matters about color do not reside in the ensemble of light or dark masses in the picture. They rather in the particular distinguishing of the tone of each other. For example, place a fine brilliant white cloth upon a dark or olive-hued body. Above all, your spectators see the difference between the blonde color and the cold color. So he says, although people have light skin, put a piece of white cloth next to it and you'll see how much saturation is in there. So that's really good. He says painters make a big mistake when giving too little thought to their pictures. They use an excess of white. Later on, they have to lower or dull it because of this white. White should be reserved for those passages of light, for those points of special brilliance, which determine the effect of the painting. Titian used to say that the desirable thing would have to have white as costly as ultramarine blue, which is amazing. And so that's really cool. So he says use white very sparingly when you're working with color. So, there's so much in here that, that really helped me in my everyday life, So take care. I hope to see you soon there, Mr. Pyro. And so Nameless says, Tim, type the name in. Okay, definitely. Let me do that. Let me type that name in, my friend. Jean Auguste Dominique Angra. And the Walter Park is the author. So let's see. The drawing is the foundation, like the house. Everything else is window dressing. Very true, David. How you doing? That is so true, my friend. Definitely. And let's see. What else am I missing here? Yes, so Jean-Auguste Dominique Angra, my all-time favorite. Not to mention, but that's not to say I don't love other painters out there. I sure do. So let's go back to working on the eyes, especially after freshly talking to Mr. Angra there. So remember, I was going to erase it, but before that, I'm going to reiterate that line. Look at that beautiful lines I can get. I'll raise my air pressure. Oh, you know what's going on? I turned my compressor off. So look at that. So I'm like, hey, this is interesting. I'm getting less and less pressure. So let me turn on my compressor. Okay, it's not too far away, which is good. You're welcome there, Mr. Nameless. Definitely. Okay, cool. And let's go back to that. And okay, now, so I did that. I really iterated that. Let's move on over to eye number 2. I sounded like Dr. Evil, number 2. And let's come over here. I wonder what Dr. Evil would be like if he was an artist, like evil paintings, you know? Just gonna come over here. So if I say anything weird tonight, it's the booster shot, okay? Just to give me the benefit of the doubt here. If I'm talking about Dr. Evil and Austin Powers during a live stream, that might be an indication of the effects of that. So let's go ahead and shape the eye here. And we want to make sure that we have the eyes, the size of the eyes very similar. But more crucially is I want to make sure that I have this negative space correct. And this is where the eraser comes in. So before I paint, I'm going to make sure that I have the correct shape. And what can you draw better with than a pencil? I don't care who you are. No one draws better than with a pencil. Because we've been doing this since we were a little kid. He would doctor good paintings and then make them evil. That's really funny, Wendy. That was a good one. So yes. So let's see. We're going to come here. And so you see this size. We're just going to make, but we're not going to make any kind of contours that aren't there. So that's one of the things we have to watch out for. So let's go ahead and work on that iris. So in this painting, we can't see the pupil. So we're not going to put it in if we can't see it. And the more you learn about photography, the more you're going to understand of what's happening. So that's why I really recommend learn photography, everybody. Dr. Evil, that's right. Wait for it. That's funny. And let's see here. So again, just because you drew it out before and you transfer it doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean that you're not seeing it better right now. So, hey, Mr. David, thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that. David with the super sticker. I really thank you. That is so wonderful. Supporting the channel, keeping it going, keeping me from working at Amazon so I could continue doing this stuff with you. Anyway, Amazon was quite evil. Dr. Evil would have fit in right perfect when, at least my division of Quidzy, he would have been like, this is my happening, you know? So I don't want to go back there. So thank you, David. That makes a big difference. It really does. Supporting the channel helps me. And I always put the money right back in, you know, new cameras and all that fun stuff. So I really appreciate that so much. So thank you, sir. And Big Corp, always evil. Well, this division was quite evil, and especially in customer service. It started out really cool, but at the end they were quite evil. And and I'm not saying that if it wasn't 100% true, but they were evil. At least they were evil to me. I mean, my goodness, I've never been talked down to so much in my life. And it was good because it keeps me humble now. Being talked down to that much, right? And being treated that way and everything keeps me right now from getting like feeling I'm too important, right? So it's good to bring you down a little bit just to keep me honest. So that was an interesting time of my life. So what happened, my division of Quincy, which was in Jersey City, New Jersey, and we were part of several different websites, but we were owned by Amazon. And one day Amazon just came in and just said, we are no longer profitable. We're closing the doors. And that was literally five, let's see, 18, 19, 20, 21, 5 years ago. That was 5 years ago. It was unbelievable. And well, a lot of what Amazon is doing is that they are outsourcing. So their customer service is a lot of times they're not even employees of Amazon. They do have some, but you know, they tend to uh, outsource. Well, they did it when I was there, my division, because I was there from the very beginning. So let me show you something about the company I worked for when it started. So this was the company, the mug, and with the mug, they always talked about what number employer you were, just to give you a perspective of how. So this was before it was Quidzy, it was diapers.com, right? And so the employee number was, you know, how long you with the company. Look at that. I was employee number 8. So in the early days, it was really cool. There was only 8 of us in the whole company, including the CEOs and vice presidents, 8 of us. For the first 2 years, 3 years, if you called, then most likely you got me. There was like a 25% chance you got me when you called them. So the company was, it was a little company. It was literally 1-800-diapers, and we sold diapers and baby supplies. And we were over a computer store, and it just grew and grew and grew. And it swelled to like this really huge company, and then it was bought out by Amazon, and that's when things went south. They started bringing in like people who weren't there from the beginning, and you know what? And people were acting like, you know, I'm here, this is my company, you know. And you know what? They weren't there from the beginning, so it was really hard to take orders from somebody who just came in out of nowhere. And not only that, you know, it's like, you know, they just didn't have the right attitude. And it wasn't that I had the wrong attitude, it's that they didn't have the right attitude. And just to appreciate the fact of the experience and everything, it didn't, you know, that was like not important. So I was there for 10 years. So I was there for 3 years with the small company, and the company was bought out by Amazon. And then for the last like 6 years, total of 10 years, I was with Amazon, and it grew and grew and grew. And and then, you know, I just had all this seniority, you know, I had all these days off and everything. I just didn't fit the bill anymore, and I was getting old. And the last couple of months were really rough, and I was just praying to God, you know. And you know what? You know what? You know, it's like they shut the doors before they could fire me, and I was able to get a huge severance. And I had little jobs since then, but I never had a full job since then. I've been very blessed to be able to do my artwork and, you know, and share my love of painting with everybody, which is much better for my time. Though the owners did, Mark and Vinny were the owners, Mark Lore and Vinit Barata. I don't know how to say his name, but he was great, Vinit. They were both great. But they stayed with the company for, I believe, 2 years, and then they left to do their own thing. And one of the companies that Mark Lore did after that was Jet.com. And I would have went with that company, but the customer service was in Utah. And I didn't want to go to Utah, you know? That wasn't going to happen. So, thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that. I really feel that, I'm in my element now and I'm where I should be. And I always know that I'm taken care of if I'm doing the right thing. And I know painting and giving affordable art lessons, not killing people, giving affordable art lessons and giving art lessons like an art school where you're there every week. So think of the difference, right? If you have a 4-day workshop, you're there 4 days, you have all this stimuli going, all these new people. Hey, I'm Bill. Hey, I'm Ralph. I'm Uncle Louie. And all these people talking. How much are you really ingesting, right? I went to art school for 8 years, and I know that you have to study with your teacher and then work outside. So I have students that are with me for 2.5 years. A lot of them are with me for at least 1 year, over a year. And $100 a month, you get 1 2-hour one-on-one class. At the very least, when it grows, you might have 2 people in the class, but it's one-on-one for 2 hours every week. We'll work around your schedule. That's unheard of. You don't have to change your life, stop working your full-time job. Some people are like, Tim, I can only do it on Sundays. No problem. Tim, I can't do it this Wednesday. Can I do it on Friday? If I have time, if I have an open slot, no problem. We always find a slot. And you know what? And then we have a weekly class, which is also very cool. And so you learn better when you're in the comfort of your own home. And the way I have my cameras set up, it's like I'm right there with you. And we work on projects together, and during the weekly class, if you can make it, we talk about everything from photographing your artwork to selling your artwork. So it's an art school education because that's the education I went to. And for $100 a month, there's always more than 4 weeks in the month, so you're getting it just at this obscene amount of money. But I do that because I want it to be available to everyone and anyone. And regardless if you're a full-timer, regardless of, you have to take care of somebody or whatever, I'm there for you. And you ask me questions, I'll get back to you. Maybe not right away, sometimes right away if I can. But everyone who's taken my classes know I get back to you. And so that's something to think about. And then these live streams every week, they work perfectly with it. It's like really comes together. And I think that's really amazing. So, yes, I really feel that that was a horrible thing to lose my job, and a good paying job, right? I was making really good money. I had like a month vacation every year. But I think I'm where I'm supposed to be, not just for me, but for my students. And I learned so much from my students. I just can't imagine not meeting up with my students every week. I look forward to it. You guys are like friends to me. You guys are friends, not like friends. And I'm telling you, it's great. Give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? Worst that could happen is that you get to know me. No, I mean, the worst that could happen is we work on a really cool project together and you decide you want to go a different way with learning. But, hasn't happened too many times, quite frankly. So you see how her expression's starting to come a little bit when I worked on those eyes? Wendy says Utah is beautiful. So I'm going to take my eraser, remember the eraser? And now it's thoroughly dry, I could get rid of the pencil line. And then I can see just, you know, I have to go darker. But again, look at the control, my friends, right? So in my class, we're going to talk about a lot of progressive, really progressive. I'm not seeing any kind of comments. Someone just say, hey, so I know the comments are working. I'm going to come down to her mouth here. Always question your drawing, okay? Well, maybe not at the end. Hey, okay, Wendy, very cool. Oh, thank you, Wendy. Says I have amazing control. I appreciate that so much. Oh, thank you, David. It's like, what is this, an audience or an oil painting? I know you're out there. I hear you breathing. That's those old jokes. Those are funny. Is this mic still on? You know? And it's going to come here. See this? See how this comes up a lot higher? Oh yeah. Never believe that you got it right the first time. Always double check, triple check. Oh, we have sleep apnea. That's a scary thing, isn't it? Oh my goodness. We never knew about sleep apnea because we were sleeping. Da-dum-bum, you know? And how am I going to know about sleep apnea? I sleep on myself. And, okay, so you see how this comes up? All these little, tiny little modulations. So important. So important. And we're going to get her expression. Hey, kiddos, how you doing? Great to see you, my friend. So glad you are here. So we are doing good, hanging out. And someone next door. Oh boy, if I snored that loud. Oh my God. So far, so good. Well, I did take Tylenol at 7 o'clock. So we'll see around the 11 o'clock hour how I am actually doing. So this is two things. It's watch me paint and see how I do with this booster shot. So it's two things for the price of one. How cool is that? Okay, so right here I'm going to zoom in on her mouth. Dun, dun, dun. Blue, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that so much. That is so exciting. Blue and I are working on a project together, so that is really amazing. Thank you so much, Blue. I really appreciate it. You are a very cool person, and thank you for supporting, you know, this YouTube channel and the live stream. It means very much to me. So I really appreciate. It means a lot to me. So that's very important. And so Nameless says, Tim, it's because we all went searching for your fancy book. At least I did. Didn't find yours, but found others in the open library. Oh, what book is that, my friend? Was that the book on pastel? So yeah, so I have to get that back online. I think so. Let's see. Thank you, Blue. That is so amazing. You are amazing. Thank you. And so we are going to work on this little, so in the center it's slightly darker, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure on a separate piece of paper that I have perfect flow, right? Perfect flow. And let's make this happen. So you see that? See how it's just a little bit deeper right there? You know, so it's so important. Oh, thank you, Blue. I really appreciate your your encouragement and your support. It means everything. Thank you. I always said I came into the airbrush world to shake things up, not to be status quo. And I meant that back in 2011. I was like, I'm not here to do same old, same old. I'm here to change things. My own secret sauce. Not just to change it, but to bring my background into this, into the airbrush world. Right? And I think that is really cool. So my guest says, Blue, did you get a chance to watch those video clips of Lucy? Oh, cool, cool, cool. And so that's neat. Look at that, 20 concurrent viewers. Yes. Oh, Nameless says, looking for your Angra book. Found others on him and one in German. Luckily, it has lots of pictures and few words because my German isn't very good. Yeah, you know, lots of really good books. He's an important artist as far as art historian goes, but he's not like a big favorite among a lot of people. He's huge in the south of France. He was born in Montauban, and that is not too far from the border of Spain. And he has his own museum there dedicated to his work, you know. So that is really good. Little bit of a muscle ache all of a sudden. So I'm going to get some moisture in me. And so I have some low-calorie lemonade. Oh, that's good. Thank you, thank you. All right. Let's go. Mr. Phil, how you doing? Great to see you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So we're just going to, just ever so slowly, kind of get the three-dimensional qualities. Remember, the light is coming from the upper part. It's coming from the right. And we look at the cast shadow. So the cast shadow on the nose is always going to tell us what's happening here, right? So you see how the cast shadow of the nose comes down? So if you were to go ahead and do an angle of this cast shadow, it would hit the center of your light source. Now, since we have this going on here, so we know it's not strictly on the side, otherwise we wouldn't have this little triangle here. So it's above her to the right, above her to the left, and it's in front of her. And knowing that, you know that anything that is to the right is going to be more in shadow, right? So it's almost like being a light detective, right? So that's very good. Thank you, kiddos. I appreciate that. And my guess says, Tim, remind me what caused the green shift on the last project. It was not the sepia paint, but it was that cream colored paper and using the white mixture. And what that did was an abundance of blue, and that caused the blue shift. But we were able to fix that with the pastel, thank God. And that painting is actually sold and going to a very good home, so I'm excited about that. I always love when my paintings go to a good home. That's what you want, right? That's the goal. Make sure that someone really enjoys it and gets something from it, right? So it's key for me. Even right down to the Cupid's bow, right? If the light's coming from the upper left, that means that we're going to have a shadow on the lower right side. And you see, there it is, right? So I'm going to start from far away. Now, there's not going to be much of a difference from, let's say, 6 to 7 inches, but from, let's say, 3 inches down to 1 inch, there's going to be a big difference. And that's something you're going to learn in my class. Not only are you going to learn control, but you're going to learn the physical nature. The nature of what the airbrush paint does. I don't care if you work in Createx, Golden. The nature of the spray is always going to be the same. And I will teach you that, and you're not going to learn that anywhere else. So controlling of the airbrush is a very cerebral thing. It's also, you know, getting the cadence down and the physical aspects of it, but there's also a lot of intellectual thinking going on with that. And let's see. Oh, very well. Yeah, you have to be careful with light colored paper. You know, like a creamy, that has a pigment, like a cream in it, because then you can definitely, with the airbrush, have an unexpected effect. And that's exactly what I had. Let me zoom in on her mouth there. And so people might say, Tim, what are you doing? You're taking forever. You know what? It is important to take forever, because as we are working, we're slowly building up, and it's going to all come together at the end. We're not painting for right now, we're painting for where we're going, right? So think about that. It's where we're going that's important, not where we are. So as long as we're thinking that way, we're going where we're going. White is blue is what I've learned and experimented on his own paintings. Dust it with a complementary color orange. Yes, you got to be so careful, right? But that is the truth, definitely. Depending on the brand, can look green or yellow, definitely. Right, Brad, it is not a race. It's slow and steady wins the race, but it's all about sticking with the program. If we can do that, we'll be okay. There are always exceptions to the rule, but you know, you definitely, and what we're looking for is emotion and character, and those are things that we're holding out for. So we know you can't do that quick. You can't rush it. You can't speed it up. It just doesn't work that way. I wish it did. Otherwise, I would, you know, whiz through these things. As it is, I go pretty fast among certain people's standards, but on my standard, I'm very deliberate. Mike S says, Tim, so if you clear the paper first, you could block the color shift from it. That's a little deeper than I go, so that just might happen. It sounds like a good experiment to do. Patience is one of the hardest lessons in airbrushing. It really is. In drawing and everything, right? It's so important. And so, yeah, you know, it's something that, here's an interesting thing. I had this little baby, look at this little baby here, little baby pinup, little, see that? Isn't that cute? And what I'm going to do, remember, a lot of times the adjacent object describes the object more than the object itself. So what I'm going to do, see how I got that that edge there? That's going to make a big difference. See that? Now that kind of shows up really nice. And let's see. So Wendy says, what did Wendy say? Oh, not if it's opaque paint, you will get a blue looking color because white is basically blue. I like, so when I work in color, I use zinc white by Golden, and it's a very diluted white, and it has less blue in it, and I use that very, very thinly. And that helps when I'm working in, you know, doing a color airbrush painting. See how I move around a lot? It's very important that I do. And again, I'm going to, if I'm drawing it out, I'm not going to use my airbrush because I'm better. No matter how good I get with the airbrush, I'm never going to be as good as I am with a pencil because I've been using a pencil since I was a little lad. Hey, Paul, thank you so much, my friend, for the super sticker. Love it. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That is so important. I think it's so great that that you guys are supporting the channel, and you know, it just tells me that I'm doing the right thing and showing up even after I got the booster shot at 12 o'clock. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate that more than you know. You are amazing, Paul. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And David says, Tim, you don't get any blue shift with Golden's white zinc. You do, but the thing is, since it's much thinner and much more of a remember, white is not created the same. You have titanium white, you have zinc white, and those are totally different in the way you use them. So try the zinc white, experiment first. You'll be happy that the titanium white is like, ugh, and the zinc white is really nice. I have a couple, let me see if I have them here, my different whites. So zinc white, and we have, where is the titanium white? I think I had 3 different whites. Okay, titanium white, and then there's this color, which is really interesting to play with. So when you're using golden, yay golden for airbrush. Titanium buff is really cool if you haven't tried that. But yeah, this is super opaque. So if you look here, what golden does, which other paint companies don't do, if you look, you'll see that what the paint company does is they'll put some on there to show you the coverage. So you see how that covers the black, and then you see how much it doesn't cover, so you can see it's much more transparent. So when you're spraying this over with that transparency, it's not causing the blue shift as fast. So you have more of a leeway, right? So definitely what I like doing, and this is a great tip for you all, is when you're working in color with the zinc white, always buy like the fluid acrylics, because then you could mix the golden airbrush medium and do it half to half, and then you get twice as much. And then what you can do from there is add some water to thin it out from there if you need to, and use some of their high flow medium. So with this is a 4 ounce, you get 8 ounces of paint out of it. Some really cool tips. Why do I like using golden? This is just a secondary part since the question. I like using golden because I'm able to add their impasto techniques, right? Oh, Patty, have a great night. It's always a pleasure. I'm so glad you're get some rest for tomorrow. Don't work so hard. And zinc white isn't poisonous, at least the golden isn't, so that's good. Flake white is poisonous, so it's illegal. But you know, using golden, I can add something that you can't do. So if we look here, talk about mediums, right? If you're going to go into 2040, 3060, hut hike with all the Createx, you can add the flat matte medium, which is a low gloss extender. You could add Golden Slow, Golden's, now you can use Golden's Open, which is a slow drying acrylic. I think it dries like in 8 to 10 hours. And you can use their heavy body. Now you can mix that all with the golden airbrush colors because they all have the same DNA. And they're not made with some mystery material. They're made with acrylic polymer. 100% acrylic medium, fast drying glazes, extended paint, and so it's really great. I highly recommend it. You just have, and you can use modeling paste, where you can do a modeling paste to get really cool texture and then spray on top of it. Because it all has the same DNA, you have much more creative, much more creativity. So I know we're doing you know, India ink now, But it's good that I let you know about that. It will open up a whole new world to you. Uh, and let's see. Took Drew's class, but have to tell you, transparent looks way better than the opaque. That's interesting. And the open acrylics are amazing. Dave Fury says, love the transparent paints if I woke just under them for everything. And Nameless says, fun fact, a drop of blue in white paint creates a super white. Wow, that's interesting. So what is the ratio of white to the blue? I would love to hear that. Nameless says, I'm sure adding a drop of different color can correct or stop shift. I have a video on blue shift on my YouTube channel, on this channel, so check it out. So I have a real good video on it when I was working in color a lot on this channel. So definitely check that out. But the thing is, I didn't expect it when I was working with the sepia paint because I didn't expect how the white would react to that cream paper. And that's what's, white is really it's a wild card, right? It really is. You don't know what it's going to do until it does it. And so you got to really be careful with it. Understatement of the century, right, everybody? So you see how I'm starting to come in, and I could see that I'm going to fix my drawing just a tad, just a little bit. I think I have more chin. Little more chin. There we go. And let's go ahead and let's use our freehand shield for this. This is like freehand shield day. Hey, Mr. Diekman, how you doing? Great to see ya. That is working into. I'm gonna try that, but I don't wanna use up all that paint. That's what I'm worried about. Perpendicular, not parallel, right? That's so crucial. And like I said, we're going slow, but it doesn't matter. Take your time. Because you can't skip ahead. It's just an impossibility, Yeah, the white was really weird, when it reacted to that paper. Now, I did see it when I did another painting with that, but remember the one I did of the girl praying? That one was on white Bristol. And when I use sepia, that's what I'm recommending. When you use sepia, please, please make sure that you use the white Bristol. I think that's much better when you're using sepia. Or just make sure you do not do the white mixture and you'll be just fine. Because I use the white mixture in all of my paintings, but not for sepia anymore, because that, as you did, prove to be detrimental. Okay, so as you see, we're coming down here, and let's look at this area right here. Not quite happy with it, so we're going to leave it alone. We're just going to come up like that, and let's start coming in with this dark here. Take our time. And I have this beautiful diluted detail mixture that is just giving me just this beautiful amount of control. And you can see, as you're working, you can see where you might be a little bit off. And, in the beginning, you definitely have to, definitely have to look out for any drawing errors and to fix them when you can. Super soft over here. Super soft. So you don't want any kind of And you just see once we get those edges down how much things sort of work out, right? How much that comes together. Really does come together. And now you see we can definitely, as we darken this area, we definitely have to darken here and sort of bring this in, right? We can't have it dark on the border there, so you have to bring that in. Otherwise, it's just going to be too ardent, too strong, and we just have to calm that down. And remember, things look dark right now in certain areas because everything else is so light, right? So we want to make sure that we are patient. What looks really dark right now is going to fall in line when we put the other pieces in. So remember that. And let's see. John Diekman says, "Hey Brad," which is cool. Nameless. And Nameless says, "I don't know the ratio, but it's like a drop." Wow, look at that. That would be cool to see. Maybe even with digital art, try it. See if it works with that. I usually just dip my paintbrush very light. Oh, that's cool. And, oh, so Paul watched my, that was a funny one, wasn't it, Paul? My video on, I was feeling quite humorous at the time. So, it's kind of a funny video. It went pretty, it didn't go viral, but as far as me, it went, I think it has like 30,000 views or something crazy like that. Yeah, very popular video. And but it was a lot of fun. I gave a lot of thought to it, and so I enjoyed it a lot. And always great to see you, Mr. John Diekman, as always. So yeah, yeah, that realistic folds. That was 5 years ago, believe it or not. 5 years ago in May, I think. Uh, yes, it's a lot of fun. Watch my video on edges. That's a really good one. Of course, I'm more advanced in my thinking now, but that's a really good introduction to edges. So definitely check that out, Mr. David. That would be cool. Let me know what you think. Oh, look at this value here. So you see the value here is much closer, so I have to bring this value down. And again, it looks dark. Don't worry. It only looks dark because everything is light right now. But it'll catch up. So we have to be really careful to be patient with the contrasting colors, contrasting values. Same thing here. This comes up here. This looks super dark, but I promise it's going to fall in line. Now it may be you might have an area like that's dark inside there that you might have to fix, but that's okay. But as far as the overall value, it's pretty much going to plan right now. So I'm about 4 inches from the subject, right? And so we're at the 10:30 mark, still doing okay. No weird side effects from the booster shot. But I feel good about the booster shot. I feel comfortable hanging out with people now that I have the booster shot. And so that's why I'm doing it. Basically for my mom, you know, when I go see my mom, I don't want to get her sick. Not that it, you know, it's 100%, but I'm doing my part, right? So at least I'm doing that. And hopefully now I could go see her with a clear conscience. Still going to wear my mask because I'm paranoid. Be first to admit it. And let's see. So my guest says, "I have seen and heard of super white by adding a drop of blue. It really, wow, that's cool, super white. Oh, wow, so super white is interesting." And again, look at the value differentiation from here to here. Quite a lot. So let's just dust this whole thing. I'm going to be about 7 inches away. And 7 inches away, when you dust, you're going to remain, you're going to still have the work that I did there, but it's going to make everything darker. So it's like putting a, a clear sheet of gray on top of it, but you still see all the different values underneath, which is really cool. Little by little, we're starting to get the character of the pose, but that's going to happen slowly, right? Slowly but surely. And then right here, it's a little darker. And we're not totally thinking about, edges yet. We're just looking at large shapes, getting them together, and then edges will come later. So I'm not getting too detailed. I think that would kind of mess up our goal of getting the ensemble and then going from there. So what's our goal in the beginning? Our goal in the beginning is to lay out everything, try and get her expression the best we can with our limited means at this point. And now we can come in with this value right here. Oh, kiddos, have a great night. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Hope to see you next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. So I'm going to bring this over, and what that's going to do is I'm going to enable me to work on this edge over here. But you don't want to try and make darks with the light mixture, right? With the detail mixture. That's something for later. But what we're going to do is try and establish it. So if I'm here and I have a certain value, and I want to come here and have a little bit different value, then I'm just going to increase my distance. And by doing that, magically, the airbrush is doing your bidding. How great is that? Most of the time in the beginning, it's like a wrestling match with the airbrush. I got you, and then, the airbrush is kicking our butts, right? So, let the airbrush do the work for you. Why not, right? And let's see, Nameless says, really all it's doing to the white paint is making it slightly more opaque. Interesting. So, a lot of different things going on there with white, right? Go. And I'm just looking and seeing that she's a little thinner in the face, so I want to make sure that I get that. And then right here, I'm going to be really deliberate, just slowly. You don't want to get it too wet, but still you definitely want to get this value here. Again, when we're drawing, it's always better to draw with the pencil than with the airbrush, right? I don't care who you are, you're always going to draw better with what you have more time with, and we all have immense more time drawing with the pencil than we do with the airbrush. So I'm going with the sure thing. I'm betting on sure things. So we'll bring this in, just like so. Look how beautiful. And let's continue. Now I'm going to pretend that this pencil line doesn't exist, and I'm just going to go over it like that. Now I still want to pay attention to what the hair is doing, right? The large shapes of the hair, right? So we're just painting the large shapes of the hair. Very beautiful. And see how this comes over here, comes down, comes here, just like so. You don't have to get, this is, you don't want to get too literal with something so general, right? So we'll work on this together and we'll get there. So what do you all think about baseball season being suspended? What do you think of that? Are there any baseball fans out there? And let's see. Mike S says, so slight blue unnoticed tint. Interesting. Your computer screen sends off blue lights. Wow. Very interesting. Yeah, learning a lot about light lately, with the help of Colette. She's helping me a lot with seeing light. Colette is a very knowledgeable photographer. She's very modest, but she's teaching me a lot. I mean, unbelievable the amount of knowledge. That's the great thing about my students. I learn so much from you all. Feeling a little bit of muscle pain, stiff neck kind of thing happening. I don't know if it's the booster. It has to be the booster shot, right? And and we're just gonna pull this over. Ooh, we have this really cool hard edge here. And we're just gonna pull this off. This is nice soft edge. So you can very slowly build this up. There's no hard edges here. So I'm not going to go ahead and use like a freehand shield. This is all very soft edge. But notice I am pointing the airbrush, right? Let me see. Oh, my focus just went. Okay. So notice I am not worried about hard edges here because it's very soft. So I'm definitely going to not use a freehand shield. But notice I don't go straight on or this way. If I go this way, I'm going to have overspray. If I go this way, I'm going to have overspray. But if I point this way, then I'm not going to have that much overspray going there. So everything, angles and everything are so important. Just making sure that all your decisions are geared for your main purpose, which is to create a beautiful painting, right? That's the main purpose. And we're just going to continue along those lines. There we go. And you see how things are starting to, again, there is a disparity here from this dark as we come here. So let's just assimilate that a little bit better. See how that works? And we might have to lighten it, or maybe when we add some other areas, it might darken up or lighten up. And as we go, you can see I'm slowly darkening areas. And if I darken this area, that means the next area adjacent to it darkens. So you see it's building very slowly and deliberately. And you see how the white of the eye on this side is very dark. So definitely doing that. All those things really are so important, I may have to cut this live stream short to like 11. Starting to feel a little achy. So we'll see how it goes. Remember, I always want to give you all the full 2 hours. But I may have to cut it short. And if I'm cutting it short, I'm not feeling well. So, but I'm going to try and give you all a great art lesson today, and that's important to me. You all are very important to me. This is the only live stream out there where you're going to get a portrait from beginning to end without me doing anything offline. So if you watch parts 1 to 6 or 1 to 7 or how long it is, you'll have the full technique which I think is something I wish I had when I was in art school. So that's why it's so important for me to be consistent and make sure that I always deliver the full amount for you. And Todd, Mr. Todd, how you doing? Thank you, Wendy. I'll try not to push myself too much. Craig Frager talks about adding blue to his white and black. Wow, that's very cool. And so yeah, it's a big debate. It's always going to be a big debate about blue shift and what it is and how to avoid it. My whole thing is to the best defense is not to be there. So I always avoid it as I'm painting in color. So you can see even when I'm doing this technique, I avoid it by doing the white in the beginning on this gray paper. And then after that, I use white pastel. So I avoid the issue altogether. So that's cool. And thank you, my friend. I appreciate Mr. David. Thank you, sir, for the super sticker. Much appreciated, my friend. 2 super stickers. I appreciate it. Thank you. You're giving me energy to continue to 11:30. Right now we're doing pretty good. So David just gave me a boost in the arm. Wait a minute. I got a boost in the arm earlier today, so it's not a boost in the arm. I had enough boosts in the arm today, but you gave me a real encouragement to push myself, and which is really good. So tonight I was going to do more work, but I'm not doing more work after this. I'm just going to chill out and hope. So what I have is I have my Tylenol next to my bed, and I also have several lemonades there. So in case I get the chills, I have extra blankets to get under there. I have my iPad charged, and I'm ready, I hope. I live alone, so it's very difficult, you know, when you don't feel good and living alone. And, you know, I have no one to make me a cup of tea or anything like that, you know. Cue the violins. Do, 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 do. Sad music. No, but seriously, it's harder living by yourself because number one, you don't have somebody to look after, because I always love looking after somebody, but you have nobody to look after you. So that's kind of a bummer. There are good things living alone, don't get me wrong, right, David? There are good things. I'm sure you have a family and everything. I'm not the only one. I'm probably, not everyone's like me, by themselves in Little Ferry, New Jersey. Okay, here's a good movie I want you all to watch. I may do a watch party on this. So this movie is with Adam Driver, and it's called Patterson. It's on Amazon Prime, and I'm gonna put a link to it because I like this movie a lot. It's really great. So I'm gonna go to Amazon. If you have Amazon, you're gonna love it. Trust me. If you like poetry, if you like drama, you like just learning about a different part of New Jersey, where I lived for 5 years in Paterson, New Jersey, it's really cool. So let me put the movie Patterson. And that's with 1 T, not 2. Here's a link, my friends. Where are you? Okay, right here. Check it out. You're gonna love it. It really is good. Adam Driver is amazing. Mr. Mark Webb, how you doing? Better late than never, my friend. And David says, hey Tim, how do you pick what you want to paint? I'm a huge fan of history, so that is what I mostly, what I paint, mostly Colosseum and stuff like that. That is really great. And the one thing is, you want to make sure you have something with really good lights and darks like this, and you want to have as much clarity as possible, right? So you want a full dynamic range. And what I mean by a dynamic range is you have your highlights, your lights, your midtones, your darks, and your dark accents. And that's going to help you a lot. So if you have something like that, it'll really be amazing. So I'm going to turn off the fan. Perhaps the fan is giving me a backache. Let's see. So I got the shot here in the left arm because I didn't want it to affect my airbrush arm. But it reminds me, the feeling is like when I was a kid and my older brothers would give me a Charlie horse and it would like stay there in pain for a long time. That's what it feels like. And it's my third shot, and you think I would get used to it, but it's just a pain in the neck to have it. But now are my eyes getting better? Because I can see, oh, okay, I can see the screen better without the glasses, but I can see the artwork better with the glasses. That's confusing. So in the last half hour, if I get a little more, you know, funny, blame the booster shot. And let's see what we have here. So it's good to see you. The flu, dun dun dun. Hate the flu. Flu is scary. And we're just gonna come here. Okay, so where are we ignoring? That's always a question I always ask. Where are we ignoring? So the top of the hair, I'm going to work on that, and I'm going to come down here in her neck and chest area. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's see. So we got 15 subscribers. I mean, nothing huge. Not sure why. Last week was unbelievable. 34 people. That was like increíble. Let's see. I'm going to zoom in into the hair. Bam. Okay. All right. You see, I did have some areas that I was working on there. So the drawing does have some of the darks and the lights, so I have somewhere to go. I have a nice, like little dagger strokes. Again, I'm angling towards the ink and not towards the white background, right, or the light background. I want to reduce overspray as much as possible. Okay, so I did that. Now let's come over here. And Wendy says, yes, Tim, if you are hurting or not feeling well, we can wait. I know you don't want to disappoint. You never disappoint us. Aw, thank you, Wendy. You're the best. Oh, cool. David's painting while he's watching the live stream. That's always great, right? You know, it's funny. Whenever I watch a live stream while I'm painting, I don't know whether the compressor is me or the person on the live stream. That's pretty funny. You know, like the air, you know. So let's hear it. So here's a good thing. Oh, so my guest says, Tim, how do you decide where to crop the image of your subject? Any special plan? Well, there are this thing about the rule of thirds and everything like that, and I follow the rule of thirds when I'm doing my photography, but when I'm doing my own pictures, I just figure out, you know, what negative space is interesting, right? With this, and also I have to fit it, right? So she has her hand out like that, so that actually trumped any kind of compositional ideas. So basically I just tilted the paper to landscape orientation, and the most important thing was to get that hand in there and not have it. So one of the things is you don't want the head too close to the top, and you don't want the hand or any kind of body part too close unless there's a reason for it compositionally. There has to be a reason for cutting things off. not just doing it willy-nilly. At least that's what I like to do. But I also like to break compositional rules every now and then, right? That's always a good thing. Sometimes the photographer begins with a really good uh, composition. But now I'm going to start using my own photography. So I'm going to be shooting models and everything to get my own photography. So I'm going to have a lot more creative say as to what I paint. So that's what I'm looking forward to do. I'll still do the celebrities and everything that everyone likes, you know. So Nameless says he prefers the golden ratio. Yeah, that is fantastic, right? Um, Love the golden ratio. There's a really good book by Mario Livio. I'm going to write that down. It's called The Golden Ratio, aptly named. And the author is Mario Livio. It's a very easy to read book. You don't have to be a mathematician. It's a very good book. And so let me write that down. The Golden Ratio, and that is by Mario Livio. He's a mathematician, but he's a good writer as well. So check that book out in the library. It's not something you might want to buy, but definitely a good library acquisition, right? And if you stick with it, he really goes into the origins of the golden ratio, of how you see the golden ratio in nature, such as in sunflowers and the branches of a tree, the fingers, the toes, they all, on the person, they all follow the golden ratio. It's really cool. And Mark says, I can imagine a live model and you streaming it. That would be great if she would be okay with it. I would love to do that. That would be amazing. So it would be like, how do we actually go ahead and photograph the model? You know, how does a painter think about the model and the light as opposed to a regular photographer, and what a headshot client might want? So that's a great idea. What do you guys think of that? Nude? Oh no, I don't think that would go over well. Um, I do photograph nudes at times, but I think I'd be in big trouble if I live streamed it. She would have to be 100% on board with it, right? I mean, even just a regular pose, she would have to be okay with it. And let's see. Oh, Mr. Todd said, Tim, is it easier to use the bigger cup more than the little cup in the airbrush, or is it your choice? I like the smaller cup for a lot of things because smaller cup, the smaller cup actually, you have less of an obstruction. But the bigger cup on this with the Xtreme Patriot 105, there are some really interesting things that go on with it. It has more of a tapering as it goes down, so I think I can get even finer lines with this. So that's really cool. Also, if I'm doing a background, then I'll use this, but it's the exact same thing. So if you purchase the Xtreme Patriot 105, customized by myself, it's going to have the same qualities as this inherently, but you're going to be able to use a lot more paint. But everything else is going to feel very similar, so you're going to feel good about it. And that pack valve, that is a game changer. Much better than the Iwata Mac valve. Much better. Hugely better. Why? Because, well, I can see like the custom micron, the C that has this in the high line. That's really good. They have the Mac valve here, but when the Mac valve's here, it doesn't really control it minutely as if it's right here by the nozzle. So really good. Because the air still has to travel here, so the air is traveling here unfettered, and then you're micro diluting it, right? Which is really fantastic. Okay, so let's see here. So we are at 11:05. Let's see if we can make it. I'm feeling a little like, whoa, but I am going to push myself, because if I don't push myself for you guys, who am I going to push myself for? So this is the dedication that I have for you guys. Now, I haven't missed a live stream since like 2017 or some crazy number like that. And so I'm not going to start now, and I'm going to try not to cut out early. But we're having a good time, and with this booster I'll be able to see my mom and not have to worry, so it's all worth it. Thanks, Wendy. I appreciate that. And so Nameless says he's seen a lot of nude models on YouTube, full frontal, and it's allowed as long as it's purely educational. Well, that would definitely have to be up to the person, right? Because that would be super important. Like, even if someone's modeling just like a headshot, of course I would make sure that they know, right? And it's important. But I think if I do, if one day, I have a model and they're okay with it, to do it on the live stream, wouldn't that be amazing? Of course, it wouldn't be at 11 o'clock at night, Model wouldn't want to be here at 11 o'clock at night. She has things to do, right? And so that's important. So it says here, Tim does fit in that category. Thank you, my friend. Full frontal. Wow, that's interesting. And Nameless says there is some videos of beautiful women getting airbrush body painting. Oh, wow. Yeah, true. True. Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, just out of the respect of the young lady, I would make sure that it was totally 100% something that she was 110% comfortable with, and making sure it's family friendly, right? I want all my videos to be family friendly, and I even try not to say any f-bombs or anything like that. So now I'm working on her hand, okay, so I said, hey, Mr. Paul, thank you for the second super chat. $3.99. I appreciate that, sir. You rock. You're giving me energy, Paul. You're giving me encouragement to push it, to push the envelope. So we have 22 minutes, and my back hurts. And so what I'm going to do is take a quick stretch, and let's see. It might have been a bad idea to, oh, man. Oh. So I still have the Charlie horse in the arm. Wendy says, Tim, stop. No, I got to go to 11:30. We're going to do it, Wendy. We got this. So, we got this. And I'm not feeling that bad, but I am going to take a little bit of this stuff. Ooh, that's good. And let's see. Wendy, what happens to all the Who Wants Cake offers? Yeah. Wendy makes amazing red velvet cake. Am I right, Wendy? You are incredible. You make a lot of things. Wendy makes soap. She sent me some soap one time, and it was amazing. Just amazing. Very talented lady. She builds websites, and I mean, she's incredible. Red Earth Cake, yeah. Wendy is a multi-talented. She writes. Anything she touches, she's good at. She's great at. Let's see. Just coming over here. So we're still in that very light mixture, right? That very super, not kind at all. It's the truth. And Tim, better to have pain in the back than in your front. Sounds true, right? Scented soap, yes, definitely, Wendy. Uh, don't worry about that. You know, look at that as a learning experience, right, Wendy? That's what we have to do. You know, you're a halfway point to success. So you gotta have some lemons once in a while. But you know what? It's not a lemon if you learn from it and you have something to teach people because now you have experience and now you become a much better painter because you know what to avoid. So several good things are coming out of that. We don't realize it when it happens, right? You're like, this sucks, right? So, but still. Oh, I said I was going to worry about her neck, right? Because that's an area we're ignoring. But let me just do this forehead first. So now we're starting to get that kind of emotion here. But I don't want to be looking for the emotion. I want it to reveal itself. So I'm not going to try and get it. I'm just going to try and just stick with the program. That comes later, right? So we'll worry about that later. Again, I want to worry about the neck area. So again, I'm going to take my trusty pencil, and put this down here. So thank you, David. I really appreciate it, Paul and Blue, and you guys are fantastic, and Honey. You guys are just amazing, you know. I really appreciate it. If I skipped anybody, I am so sorry, but I think I have Paul, David, Blue, and Honey. And if I missed anybody, it's the COVID vaccine, okay? So uh, let's see. That's good. I have an excuse for everything now, you know. I forget your birthday. It's the booster shot, you know. I double park. It's the booster shot. It's only going to last for so long. We're just going to come here, just darken this here. So you see how, and it doesn't even, and when you work it correctly, your paper has the feeling of like a glass surface, right? It doesn't have the feeling of paper. Again, you increase your distance to get various degrees of value, right? 2 hours. Okay. So Wendy says takes about 30 minutes to mix the ingredients, prepare the pan, 25 minutes. Not bad. 2 hours and you have some amazing dessert. How amazing is that? Yeah, you had soap that looked like different fruits, right? I think you had limes, which was really good. I love that. And so Mark says he's a Leo. Okay, cool. And so let's see. And Mike says he loves Wendy. Who doesn't love Wendy? Wendy's the best. Wendy's amazing. But you all know that. I'm not telling you something you don't know. If I was telling you something you don't know, then that would be, but I'm just telling you what everyone knows. So, Mr. Mark, good to see you. So I'm so glad you're here. And you're welcome, Wendy. Let's go over here. So you see now I'm starting to make the whole painting come together. And then little by little. So we are at 11, 14, 16 minutes. Bum, bum, bum. And now a watch kettle never boils, right? So now I'm going to be counting down every minute. It's going to be like the longest 16 minutes in live stream history. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Because I'm crazy like that. Yes, hear us roar. And, well, you guys are Leo. I'm a Sagittarius, so I don't know if Sagittarians make noises. Well, a centaur, right? How do they make a noise? I guess they're just the arrow. Oh, now eternity will pass in 16 minutes. Boy, wouldn't that be great if I can do 50? I'd be famous, right? I would be famous if I was able to do 50 paintings in 16 minutes. I think I'd be on Conan O'Brien or something like that. So right here, we got to bring this over. See that? That's part of her thing, her look. There we go. And we're getting there. Yeah, Book of World Records, that's for sure. Mark has a full back tattoo of a lion on rocks. That's wild. Want to show you a painting that I did. I have a print of it. And this is cool. I don't know if you can see it on the print. But here's a painting I did years ago. It's a pastel painting. And so I'm going to see if we can see it. But where is the lion? So I entitled this Allegory of Katrina. And what's really cool about this painting, not done intentionally, is that you can see a lion's face right here. Here's the nose and the chin and the two eyes. So you can see a lion's face in here, which is really interesting. And it's about Katrina, the horrible things that happened. Allegory, actually called the Allegory of New Orleans. And then you can see faces. So you see a nose underwater here. And then, so this is a print of this painting. If anyone wants to buy this print, it's only $19. And it's on metal. And so you can see, you know, that this is called Allegory of New Orleans because of Katrina. And I thought that was wild. So that's the painting. And I did not realize that, not on purpose did I put a lion's face on there. And let's see, Tim's, any I catch sleep early morning art you've done lately? I can't sleep early morning. I'm not sure. Oh, so you can't sleep early in the morning art I've done lately. You don't sleep all day anymore. I don't do any during the day live streams too much. You know, I actually see better without the glasses. Hey, maybe the booster shot is fixing my vision. Wouldn't that be wild? That would be on CNN. Man gets booster shot. Has like eagle eyes, you know? Wouldn't that be something? I wonder if you can make up a fantastic story and call CNN and just lie, right? Now I have fantastic vision. I took the booster and I can see what they're doing in the next town. Yes, so actually it's helping my eyeballs. That's what's interesting, right? Isn't that very interesting? So let's continue down here. I keep getting sidetracked. When you move around, and that's what you want to do, you're always moving around and the painting is coming together as one. Right? I'm going to say paint the ensemble. Make it look like the painting was done all at one time. And, you know, it'll be a unified image. And I think that's great. And, yeah, the back and the shoulder right here. So I took 2 Tylenol at 7 o'clock. 8, 9, 10, 11. So 1 o'clock, things are going to start. And so the Tylenol is kind of wearing off. So I have to wait until 1 o'clock. And then I take the Tylenol. And this will go on for the next day or so. So I have some classes scheduled tomorrow. They may happen, they may not happen. But hopefully they do. And Paul says, I probably just nano chip running around in you. That's pretty funny there, Mr. Paul. And no, Tim, you didn't do one early morning or you couldn't sleep. Oh, yes, I did one a while ago where I couldn't sleep. That happens rarely, but I might just do one just for you, my friend. That would be cool. So, that would be weird, wild stuff. I might just surprise you. I'd have to email you first so you make it there, sir. But definitely, I got to do something fun like that, you know? Breakfast with the live streams. Robotic eyes. Wow, wouldn't that be something? Like the Bionic Man? But he only had one regular eye. So did that mess him up? Like one was like really robotic and one was regular? Uh, so Wendy says, don't do one today. Very good. Definitely, I agree. If I did one today, I'd be like, ooh, you know? Be like, Tim, really nice abstract painting, you know? What are you talking about, abstract? It's Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, you know? So, yeah, it would be really weird if I did a live stream. Like this live stream today being, you know, a little loopy isn't weird enough, right? This is pretty weird in its own right. A bird, it's a plane, no, it's robo artist. That's pretty funny. David says, Tim, do you still sketch? Have a pad? Oh, all the time. Love sketching. I do a lot of sketching digital too. In Krita, in Procreate with my iPad. I use iBiz Paint for my S6 Lite. So yeah, I love drawing. I do a lot more sketching on digital and just total freehand sketching on digital. It's a lot of fun. So I recommend it. So who out there is doing digital work right now? And if you are, what programs are you using? And I'll start the conversation. And my primary one is Krita. And I'm doing that on a Huion tablet so you guys can see. So I love to hear what you guys are working on. David, I think Tim most likely has to make himself stop drawing. Yeah, stop my mind going, right? So right now we're at 122 and we are just kind of winding down right now. And what's really weird about this shirt is that the tag is not in the center. It's like over here. That's really bizarre. Oh, look at that. AirTod works with Procreate. That's really cool. That's good to know. A lot of Procreate users here. Brad and Colette and Wendy. They're Procreate users. Roy. I use Procreate, but I'm a pro at Krita. That's my thing, baby. I'm really good with Krita. That's really important. So we're at 11:23, and that's good. And Total Pain says she looks great work tonight. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And I'm going to put the glasses on because I think the robo eyes are wearing off. So go like this. And let's see. Let's come over here. So you see all these are large swaths of value, right? So it looks like I'm not doing a lot, but as I come and darken, go in with the medium mixture and the light mixture, things are really going to come together. I promise. So let's see. Oh, here's a good thing. Let's just start erasing. I don't like the knead eraser. The knead eraser does something weird to the paper. So just use a non-aggressive eraser here. This is the Mono Knock, and it's a great soft eraser. And I love it, and I know you'll love it too. And we'll just erase some of these pencil lines. There we go. And you know, where it's a little bit darker, where I'm not ready for it to get dark, I can go ahead and lighten up certain areas, which is good. Just at the end of the painting session, that everything is looking pretty close to where I want it. So this is a little too dark, so I'm just going to bring that in. And so Mike S uses Procreate. Great to hear it. And Eric says Autodesk Sketchbook Pro. That's a great program. I have that. It's not easy. Mike S says Procreate sounds like a bad pro. It sure does. I was just saying that to somebody the other day. You have done Critter for a long time. Yes, Wendy was the one who suggested Critter. You remember that, Wendy? When I first got my tablet, you were like, oh, you have to do Critter. And I never looked back from there. So I have Wendy to thank for that. Remember that? You were the one. And there was nothing, no resources on it. I had to learn that from scratch. That was painful. But I got it, That was painful. Yes, you did research it, that it was free and everything. That was really wild. That was good. So she's sad in this picture, so that's what I'm going to be pulling out in the future. There we go. 11:26. I have 4 minutes, guys. We can do this. I got this. It reminds me of when I was a kid and I was, doing like a 2-mile run in high school. Not high school, junior high, and then college. And just that last, 100 yards, right? When you just oh, I don't think I can make it. So Brad says she's looking really great. Thanks and thanks for another live feed. Have a great night. Take care, my friend. Always a pleasure. 11:26. 4 minutes, Paul. Yes, we got this. Autodesk Sketchbook Pro, really like it. And I also really enjoy iBiz. The only weird thing about iBiz, it's a great program, but it's a really weird thing. You can't lock your layers. And I think that's a recipe for disaster. If you can't lock the layers. Maybe they'll change that, right? Hey, David says, Wendy or Tim, can you link that program in here? Oh, yes, most definitely. Let me put that right now, my friend. www. And you want to download it from the critter.org site. You don't want to download it from Windows because when you download it from Windows, it's $10. So make sure you go to critter.org and download it for either Windows or Mac. And it's totally free. The latest one is 5. I think it's 5.02 or 3 or something like that. It's really great. My guests, have a great night. Thank you so much, my friend. And Wendy says she can't. Oh, yeah, it's hard, right? So great to see you, my friend. And take care. And let's see. You're very welcome, my friend. Very, very welcome. Now's a good time to put in a highlight, right? And let's just lighten this cheekbone up here a little bit. Zygomatic arch is another name for it, I think. Zygomatic arch comes over here, so this is probably part of the zygomatic arch. I have to get back to you to be 100%, but I'm pretty sure. And now I'm giving some volume to this area. Right over here. So what are we at right now? We are at 11:28. Dun dun dun. All programs are good in Linux, yes. And there is a critter for Linux, I think. And Wendy says, Tim, she's beautiful. I hope your back gets to feeling better and you will not be sore. Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate it. We'll get through this, right? We will get through this. We are at 11:29. So I could have just, I could have said, you know what, I'm going to cut this early. I'm not feeling good. But I wanted to show you guys and girls, women and men, that I'm dedicated to this. And this is important, dedicated to my students. And I always want to make sure that I show you in little ways like this, that how dedicated I am. How important you are. Thank you so much, Mr. Todd, all the way from San Diego, California. So everyone, thank you for the super chats, my friends. You are absolutely amazing. It's 11:30. We did it. Thank you for encouraging me. The full 2 hours, the booster shot live stream, what remained unfettered. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Mike S. And I'll do some of that calisthenics, definitely. And everyone, you have a great night. I love yous. And I just think you're all fantastic. But you know that already. All right, guys, take it easy. Let's see if I hit the right button and I don't have the live stream going and I'm walking around without a shirt. No one needs to see that. So take care. Oh, Paul, thank you, my friend. What a way to end the live stream. Paul, you rock. Thank you so much. I hope to see you all very soon. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you, God willing, next Wednesday. Take care, guys. So I hit end of live stream, and